It's the Kyle Heimann Show on Redeemer Radio.
It's really daunting to try to figure out all of the resources that are available to you as like either a young woman like expecting and not having a support system or whatever, like try to navigate that on your own is really difficult. So like having somebody that knows all of them, has made all the phone calls already. So yeah, being able to go to Crisis Pregnancy Center to talk about that with somebody.
It's time for Morning Jolt with Sister Ignatia Henneberry from the Sisters of St. Francis of Perpetual Adoration.
Wake up!
So, Sister, how many hours a week do you spend playing guitar?
Oh, wow.
Or practicing?
Practicing a week. On a normal week, maybe like 2 to 3.
2 to 3 practicing, or is that sometimes playing? Like, because you play for prayer.
Not really.
No?
Some impromptu, like, praise and worship or something. But
if you're having music at Mass or something like that at the convent, somebody else does the music for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We have an organ. So that kind of, like, leads voices a lot better.
Okay.
So I don't have quite the confidence to lead a whole congregation yet, but I'm working on it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, in the past, we've talked about being pro-life, and one of the things I think pro-life people get accused of often is we only care about the mother giving birth to the child, and then we don't do anything to take care of the child or help the woman with the pregnancy or the birth, which I just think is the most absurd comment. If you would ever look around at
what the church
outreaches
does,
that the church and its people are doing, and especially with pro-life pregnancy centers all across the country and all across the world. I've been involved with 2 pretty heavily. One, right after college, I got on the board of a pro-life pregnancy center and was able to see all the good work that they're doing. And then my wife is on a board right now. And thought maybe we share a little bit about what they do, why we need to be supportive of these groups, and how this can be a resource for people that maybe don't realize that it's available or realize that this could be helpful for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're in a conversation and like someone throws that out at you, like, oh, you don't even care. And then to be like, wait a second. Yes, we do.
Right.
But it's good to know what is happening. Yeah.
I think one thing that people might think of when they think of a pro-life pregnancy center is that they're the people that are arguing or fighting against an abortion clinic or something like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was in a marketing class in college, and my marketing professor was on the board for the local crisis pregnancy center, and he showed us like the front page, like the page that they want the women to see first. Is all like about them. Like we don't, like we want to talk, like there's nothing about like, you shouldn't do this, or like a baby's a baby, or like, that's not the message that you want to send. Like that they just, want you to feel comfortable because you clearly don't feel welcomed or comfortable.
Right.
You're afraid. Like, they're not, that is not the moment to start, having a argument or convincing you.
Yeah.
Like,
And one of the things that I've always been amazed and proud of, I guess, is that every organization that I've seen or been a part of, it's 100% about loving the individual that comes in and not pressuring them, even though like we want them to choose life for the child. It's not about guilt. It's not about pressure. It's about how can I help you in this situation? Yeah. And how can I walk with you? And regardless of what you choose to do, I am still going to be here. Yeah. Like if you choose to have an abortion, I'm here for you. Yeah. I don't want you to, but I'm not going to abandon you or leave you or hate you because of that. And I just think that's such a good message for all of us, I guess, to imitate. What are some of the things that you see the pro-life pregnancy centers doing? And there's just so many different resources, I guess. Maybe you can share some of those.
Yeah.
You said your mom was
a
part of one.
So my mom was a part of my hometown, which is pretty small, had a crisis pregnancy center that was fully supported by our parish. So resources, at least there, and I'm sure similar resources at like a women's care center and that sort of thing. So like, I think baseline is like the free testing, so like free pregnancy tests, but also like free STD testing.
Right.
I mean, we want you to be healthy and like have a responsible claim on your life. So that even side of education, but also then a lot of like prenatal care, and then networking with all, like, it's really daunting to try to figure out all of the resources that are available to you as like either a young woman like expecting and not having a support system or whatever. Like, there are a lot of things available to you, but to like try to navigate that on your own is really difficult. So like having somebody that knows all of them, has made all the phone calls already. So yeah, being able to go to a crisis pregnancy center to talk about that with somebody. I think then the big jump is like, are the centers that are able to go medical. So being able to have a sonogram, being able to at least have like some like prenatal checkups that like, if you aren't connected with a doctor yet, you know, I think that is really crucial. And then after, you know, being able to like bring the child to term and give birth. And then I think all the education along the way of like, so a lot of these young women have not come from a nurturing home and like experienced good parenting maybe themselves as a child. So like being able to have like, I think especially like women around you that can like teach you like even the basics of like, no, it's like good to talk to your child. Like, yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes young women don't know that, or like, well, they can't understand me. It's like, well, that's, you know, that's how your baby like learns affectivity and like learns to regulate their own emotions and like becomes verbal, like that you talk to them, but like they might not know. So yeah, to be able to walk with them even in those like little things. Yeah. So, and then of course, like help with, a lot of them have these like little like quote stores to like be able to like, you know, you've gone to some classes and being able to like, you know, buy and get clothes for your baby and diapers at like, yeah. So just like having low cost like resources available.
I think a lot of times we might think that they're just for people that are low income or in a crisis situation because they are very promiscuous or whatever. But I think it's also a great resource, or it, you know, the intention is to be a great resource for anybody who might be embarrassed about their situation, or, you know, you don't want to talk to your parents about it because you know that they're going to be upset. Hopefully your parents can handle this well, but
but maybe not.
We make mistakes. And sometimes we don't know how to react in different situations. And so it can be a resource for anybody who is not really sure, you know, how to bring this up. Like, how do I, and like, I'm just nervous about this. And I want to double check, like, am I actually pregnant?
Right.
You know? But the men and women that work there are there to help in any situation that people find themselves in leading up to the birth. And then, like you said, there's resources afterwards too. It's not just you had your baby, good, that was our goal, we're out of here.
Good luck.
Go find somebody else to help you out. But what kind of things do you need? What kind of resources? And you talk about people not knowing how to parent. I think even if we did have good parents, there's still a lot we can learn, and they've got a lot of resources to help out. So you just find yourself in a situation like, I don't really know how to handle this thing. Probably a pro-life pregnancy center near you that can help you navigate some of the things.
And they're not going to make you do something that you don't want to do. Or they're, you know, like, even like you feel like, do I need to tell my parents? Do I not? Like, no one's going to sit there and make you do anything. They're just going to be there along the way. And
also, I think they would be a great resource for if you're thinking of adoption. You know, a lot of pregnancy centers, I'll put that in quotes, like the places that are pitch themselves as helping pregnant women wouldn't necessarily provide that as an option, or at least be very favorable of it. And so if that's something that somebody's considering, you know, a pro-life pregnancy center would be a good one to talk to, I think.
And a lot of time they have women who work, or oftentimes it's women that work there, but, you know, people that work at a pregnancy center, a crisis pregnancy center, have like even gone through a certification to facilitate adoptions and like know exactly what the ins and outs and all the legal stuff that might be really kind of daunting right now for you to like navigate. So it's good to like have somebody who knows they can just like tell you straight like what your options are. And And
you say mostly women, and I think a lot of times in our head we think this is something that a young woman goes to on her own with with no man by her side. But I know the pregnancy center in town that we helped out with, they were really looking for men that would help out, because a lot of times the father comes along and he needs some advice, or doesn't know what he's doing or whatever. Again, not that we have it all figured out, but sometimes it's good to talk to another dad who's been through it and say, look, well, I'll help you out. We'll figure this out. And there's something about having somebody, again, maybe they're not willing to talk about it with their dad yet.
Right.
Or, maybe dad isn't in the life or whatever. And so to be able to talk that out with another man, sometimes it's helpful. So I say that just as a resource for people that might be looking for it, but also it's something that we need to be supporting as well.
Yes.
So if there's a way that you can support financially or by volunteering in some way or another, it might be sorting clothes, it might be cleaning up, maybe painting something, or sitting in a counseling room for an hour a week, helping out somebody that that needs just somebody to talk to about it. And that there's training that can go with it. If you're like, I'm not qualified for that, well, if you're willing to and interested, there's probably some help that they could put you in touch with. And there's videos and all kinds of different resources now that they have.
For sure. Yeah, I was just thinking, especially for like the young men, like I'm pretty sure the last thing that they need is another like middle-aged woman like telling them what to do or how they should be acting or feeling. Like that maybe might not be we need more men in the pro-life movement. Anyway.
And maybe it's just to be on call. And so whenever we have somebody that comes in and says they'd like to talk to a man about it, then let's work it out. When are you available? Well, you mentioned Women's Care Center. That's a big one here in the area. They started in this diocese and then moved all over the country. I think I just checked their website. I think it was like 26 different cities that they're in multiple locations in some of the cities. But also, it seems like every middle-sized, even small town has something available. And it might be a part-time, where they're either on call or 20 hours a week or whatever. Or, I mean, a lot of them have pretty decent-sized staffs that are there. And the whole purpose is to help people that are pregnant or have just had a baby.
Right.
And you realize, okay, now what do I do? This is men a little over my head. Need some help. Check them out. If you look for Pro-Life Pregnancy Center, I'm sure it will come up in a search. Your
parish would know.
Sure.
And then I think maybe even the other, if you aren't ready to even talk to anybody, but there's also a lot of safe haven baby boxes that are like popping up. I know our hospital in Michigan City has just less than dedicated one. So I mean, finding out about those, it'd be good to just like know where those are if you just need to.
We just put one in our town.
Oh, wonderful.
I think the fire department.
A lot of fire departments, hospitals. So another option.
All right. Well, thank you again, Sister Ignatia.
It's been great.
To make sure you don't miss an episode, subscribe to this podcast in your favorite podcast app. And until next time, remember to leave room for the Holy Spirit.